In this video, I will show you how to UV unwrap your model in a quick way and in a more manual way, let's say. So let's go into the texture paint here, and we will have the possibility to, not texture paint, UV editing, sorry, and we will have the possibility to unwrap our model starting here. So basically here you have the 3D view, you choose your objects, you can unwrap them as you want, and then you will see the result here in 2D. So the goal of UV unwrapping is to unwrap your 3D model into a 2D layer that the texture can give some pixel informations into your object. So I will go here with the numpad 5 to have something easier to select with orthographic view, and I will just select this object to show you an example on how to unwrap a model without automatic way, so just with the manual way. So first of all, let's, with Ctrl Y and H, let's say we would like to unwrap this model here over there, and you can see that there are a few things to take in consideration. So I will just make here the focus into the object, and we will try to understand a little how it would be better to place our seams. So just as a reminder, I show you how to unwrap a model. If you want to know more about these techniques, I really recommend you to go into my full training. I explain a little better that, but yeah, let's take this as an example, and the goal will be to place some seams into our object, and after that we will just unwrap the model. So let's say how to place seams. So basically, if you select some edges like these ones here in the middle, okay, and make a Ctrl E, you will just have the possibility to make a mark seam. And as you can see, when you mark a seam, it becomes orange and it keeps this color even after without selecting it. So it tells that now it's marked as seam, and Blender will take it in consideration while unwrapping our model. So now I select everything, and I just use U with unwrap here, and you can see the result of your unwrapping here over there. So you can see that we have a lot of deformation, because here we can see that we have the two sides of our model. Here it's where it's been cut, and now it's open like that. Okay, so let's say if I continue over there and select until here and make the entire loop just with seams like that, what it will make. Okay, just to show you and to make you understand a little how it works, I select everything and you unwrap again, and now you can see that as I did cut all along the this loop and did separate this in two parts, I have two islands. We can see that already we don't have a lot of deformation there, because we can see that more or less the size is even everywhere for the unwrapping here, and yeah, and that's it. Here, if you want to really remove even more deformation, you can take all the sharp angles like that, like here and there, and just make an unwrap, just add some seam again to help the unwrap to be a little more accurate. And with Ctrl E, I will make a mark seam again, select everything, you unwrap. You can see that it did add here these cuts over there and there into the corners, and that we have maybe less deformations into this part over there. Okay, so into this part here, I just select it like that. Okay, the goal is to keep more or less the shape of it, and to not have too much deformation after. So that's it for how to unwrap a model manually. If you want to unwrap, so what would be good if you want to unwrap multiple objects at once? For example, let's say you have a set of objects. Let's come back with different objects here. And maybe you have this one, you have this one, and you have that one and that one. I don't select a lot, it's just to show you an example on how to make it. Okay, so with Control Y, H, thank you, I will just here manage my object over there now. So now basically I will do more or less the same techniques for all the objects that I have. So I will select the loop over there in the middle, then add some loop in the corners. I add some seams in the corners here. Okay, with Control E mark seam, I just verify, I select everything, you unwrap, and it should be okay. Okay, good. And I will do, yeah, basically the same. So you can see it can be a little time consuming to do this for all your model. And for all your models over there, here I have a corner like that I will separate like this. And then I will continue until here, select the corner here to mark this as seam. And yeah, there's two here. Control E mark seam. Let's see what it will do. We select everything, you unwrap, and we have 3 islands because this island is separated. And yeah, it looks quite good. We don't have too much deformation. Look good. Okay, let's continue. And again, we will have the same kind of techniques here. Maybe what would be good to be sure that we can make the cut that we want. Maybe it will be good just to continue the line over there. So I will just use the K option for that. And with the K, you can see that we have the midpoint snap that is important. So I will just enable it with the control during I'm doing that. And like this, it should cut directly in the middle here, and I'm sure I will not make any mistake. Okay, so good. Now I have my selection. I select all this loop here. I will select the corners as usual. Okay, and after that it should be okay to unwrap the model again. And what is good with Blender 2.8 is that now you can unwrap multiple objects at once. That's what I want to show you. So Control E mark seam and select everything, you unwrap. Okay, and you will have to make that for all the objects manually if you want to make it manually. So it will work, no problem, but it's just time consuming, and I will show you another way to do that. So here we have our 4 objects, but we would like one texture set and one UV map for all the objects at once. So now I have one UV map for this one UV map for that one, but I would like all my objects to be in the same UV map. And if I select all my objects and go in edit mode, it's a big mess now. So what do you just have to do now? What is good with Blender 2.8 is that you can just make here multiple objects unwrapping just by select everything into edit mode and make a U unwrap, and Blender will create the map as well as possible. Then after, here into the 2D view, you have the possibility to manage your UV map as you want. Okay, so with L you can select islands like that. Okay, and you can have here the vertex selection, the edge selection, and the face selection mode. Here you will have the island selection mode, and then after, just with G, like for example, if I select this island, just with G and R and S, you will have, and R and S, you will have the possibility to use exactly the same basic things that we use in 3D view. So with G, R, S, you will can change and move your island just like that. So and after you organize your islands as well as possible to fit as much as possible the square that you have behind, to take as much as possible space behind. Okay, so that's it for the first technique. So what basically we would like to do for our model, I will just make Alt-H here, and I would like a UV map for, so here I select the same materials with the little quick favorite I did add into the last video here. So I would like to make here a UV map for these ones and a UV map for these ones, okay? And as I did just show you, you can take your time and make it manually if you want. But for this kind of unwrapping that I did just show you, it can be important to make it into everything that is organic. Like for example, if you have a character that will move and deform, it's really important to use the manual unwrap because it's the best technique, and like this you can really put your seams where you want and unwrap how you want your model. But for here non-organic objects, like for example this one with a lot of angles and things like that, it's not really necessary to do that because anyway there will not be deformation, so it's not really a problem. And so what I will show you the automatic technique now. So what I will do, I will just select, for example, my my paint objects with the quick material shortcut here, and I will go into edit mode here over there. I will select all my vertices with A, and before doing that, a little thing that is important, you have to verify, and this is important, you have to verify that all your objects don't have any changing with the location, the rotation and the scale, especially the rotation and the scale that can create big mess. But what you can do just to manage that quickly, you will just go there and with Control A, you select all your objects. Like this you do everything at once. You do Control A location, like this everyone will be there. Control A rotation, no rotation into our object, and Control A scale, no scale into our object. Because if you have, especially with scale and rotation, it can really cause problem when you make unwrap after. You will have strange deformations or some objects that will be really bigger in the 2D view and you don't understand. Usually it comes from a scale factor that is in there. So let's start with this object as I told. So I will just take that one, then with Q I will select all my materials, all the same material, the paint material. I will go into edit mode and make a U smart UV project, okay? And Blender will cut the objects by turn around the object and take kind of picture like from an angle, and here the angle limit will be 45 degrees. Okay, we will take a 0.001 Iceland margin and we will see how it will look. Okay, so first of all let's do that, and you can see that Blender will take as much space as possible and will cut the object, so it will not deform the object because it really make a project from view, and yeah, it looks quite good for now. Okay, so one of the things that you have to take care with this kind of unwrap, it's the overlapping. Like for example, sometimes, let's say as an example here, sometimes it can happen that a part will be above the other like that. Okay, and this Iceland there will be above this Iceland there, and they will share some space into the texture, and it's really what we don't want. So basically, to check that, you will have to go into UV there and to search into where is it already? Into select here, you will have to select overlap. You can add it into your quick favorites because I use it a lot too, this one. So you can just go there or use it with the quick favorites. So with the quick favorites, I will just select overlap to see what it will show me. Usually if you use the good values that I did just show you, you will not have that much problems. And here, for example, we have an Iceland that maybe overlap a little the other. So let's scale this down just a little to verify if it did come from that, and select everything, select nothing with A, and just select overlap again. If it makes it again, it comes certainly by this from those two vertices here over there. So what I will do, I will just put it a little above, under here, and above here, and select everything again, select nothing again, and select overlap. So, and you can see that for this one, I don't see any real overlap. Yeah, it may come from these vertices here, but you can see that the face itself doesn't share any location with another space, so it's okay for this one. Then for the others here, if I make select overlap again, yeah, I did just resolve the problem here. It should come here. So let's say I would like to move this. Yeah. Maybe, yeah, it did come from that. So I can try to make a select overlap and select this one maybe. Just scale it down carefully and scale it into the x-axis maybe. Just a little to have something like that. And we will see what it will do now. Select overlap again. So it wasn't this. Yeah, it should come again from a vertex that is not really well in place somewhere, but you can see that there is no evidence really that a space really share a big location with the other. So it should not cause any problem for that. But if you really see a space like, for example, like that, okay, like this one will be here inside, so yeah, at this point it's a problem and you will have to move it like this. For this unwrap, I'm happy with it and I will keep it like that. Okay, so we have the unwrap for the paint model, and you can guess that it's a really time saver because we will not have to unwrap manually our object. Then we will select the other object by selecting one object that has the metal material, and then with Q materials we will have all these objects. Then we'll go into edit mode, select everything with A 2 times to be sure to have this, and then we will make our unwrap again. So we'll click on U and use the Smart UV projects. Usually it keeps the same values that I tell you after. So it's 45 here, and here it's 0.001. And you click on OK. For the rest, you don't touch anything. And you should have something like that. So yeah, basically here we see that we have a little problem of scale. You can see that some parts of the model, they don't go until the top of the image. So just to resolve that, what we will do, we'll just select the objects that are good, the islands that are okay. So this one is okay, this one is okay, this one is okay as well. We will hide it with H. Or we will make an invert selection with Ctrl Y, okay? And then after, we will just try to make everything there, even this, okay? And even that here. Everything there will make a SY, sorry, not Z. And GY again to take as much space as possible into the texture. And again, SY a little. So really to be near the frame. So don't go above the frame, okay? But really near the frame like that. And now we have already something that is quite better. Now, I would like to make the same kind of check that I did before. We will go into this, select overlap. So we see a few spaces that has this problem, same kind of problems. So here I just move a little this vertex here and there. Just a little. What it will tell me now. Okay, so this one now, just like that. Okay, and we will scale this down a little and maybe move that one a little above, just like that. Good. Now with Q, select overlap, you can see that now it's resolved. And what about that one? Here we can clearly see that we share a location here, that this one is above the other. So you just select it, and by moving it and make a rotation with it, you can have a decent unwrap now. And just moving the vertices that you want like this, they don't share any location. You just select everything, make a Q, select overlap again, and you see that now we have everything that is clean into this setup. So yeah, the goal is to take as much space as possible there, and that no one share the location of another one. Good. So now we did make our UV unwrap. So we'll come back here into object mode, into the 3D view, and we will select nothing and come back here into our layout before exporting. So now everything is ready for exporting because we have our model that is unwrapped and ready to go into another software. So what you can do before exporting, if you really want to use the low poly riffle here, you will have to do all these operations. So add the materials and unwrap your model just with that one. And if you see that the little details that we did add in the high poly, like for example some inserts that we made, or maybe add some bevels here and there, that they really follow the mesh really well, you can use this low poly to use it as a low poly into Substance Painter after, and for video games or something like that. For us, what we will do for the export is that we will just export our high poly without any modifier as a low poly, and we will export the high poly with modifiers as an high poly. I hope it will make sense, but you will see that into the next video.